like to would love to introduce our co-founder Tina Barnes to give a little about her and Daisy. Welcome, Tina. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. And with so many people eating lunch, I'm hungry now. Well, good afternoon to our Texas Daisy partners. As Jen said, I'm Tina Barnes. I'm one of the co-founders. Patrick was my husband. And I just want to take a minute to kick off this event by welcoming you and thanking you for the work you do to create and sustain meaningful recognition within your organizations. Without your help, your passion, and your dedication, none of this would be possible. You are enabling nurses in your community and around the world receive positive feedback from patients, families, and colleagues. And we hear from nurses all the time that their nominations fill up their cup, re-energize them, and validate that the work that they do and the difference that they're making day in and day out. So on behalf of the Barnes family and the entire Daisy Foundation, thank you for supporting this culture of ongoing gratitude.
Close the door because I
Whether
have all that.
you are a longtime seasoned Daisy coordinator, fairly new to your role, or maybe brand new, I know you will find this roundtable event very insightful and inspiring, and you will learn a lot. Today is all about sharing best practices, sharing ideas, networking, and answering questions to ensure that you have all of the tools and information you need to make your Daisy program the best it can be for your nurses. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to participate in this. And without further ado, I will turn it back over to Jen, who again is your day-to-day contact here at Daisy to get our agenda started. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tina. Let me share my screen here. So I would like to first introduce the amazing Tara Adams. She's from Dell Children's Medical Center, and she will go ahead and she will share a presentation with you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chats during your presentation or even after.
Thank you so much, Jen, for the introduction. And let me get my screen shared with everyone and get this going. All right, is it in presentation mode? Could everyone see everything? Not yet.
Yeah, you're still on me.
There we go. And now
swap your screen.
Doing it, and we should be good now.
Maybe stop share and then redo it. It might be stuck. There we go.
Great. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So thank you so much for the introduction, Jen. My name is Tara Adams, as Jen shared. I am a project manager at Dell Children's Medical Center in Austin, Texas, and I have been the Daisy coordinator there since 2018. So next, let me tell you a little bit more about Dell Children's. So Dell Children's is part of Ascension Healthcare. We opened our doors at our beautiful campus in 2007 with 176 beds. Today, we've grown to over 320 beds at that campus with the addition of 2 towers. We have an inpatient dedicated mental health unit. We also have a specialized delivery unit. And in April of 2023, we opened our second campus in North Austin, which provides inpatient care and all of the other services that are needed for our patients who live in that area. And in June of 2023, Dell Children's achieved our 5th magnet designation. So we're super excited to be walking the stage at the Magnet Conference this year. So Jen asked me to share a little bit about our program and about really focus on our committee and nomination processes. So I thought it would be important to provide a little background information about our program at Dell Children's. The DAISY program was launched at Dell Children's in 2010. By 2018, the program had become inactive. There were still, nominations being collected and submitted by families. The boxes were still up, and there was still a committee, but there was no one to organize the work and coordinate everything because of job transitions and such. I joined our nursing administration team with our Chief Nursing Officer, Elizabeth Frieda Bowling, in July of 2018, and I was tasked to, with her, partner and relaunch our program by the end of August 2018. And our goal was to, of course, relaunch, but also grow the program and then sustain a really robust program that helped celebrate our nurses and provide recognition for the amazing care they provide every day. So a quick overview of where we started. So you can see that we did fairly well for our first few years, but by the time we got to July of 2018, there had been no registered honorees from Dell Children's at that point. So we met and discussed what were our next steps for success. Our first thing was to find all of the nominations that had been written while our program was idle. Luckily, that wasn't difficult. We had a partner who had been working on emptying the boxes for us. And then we needed to find and re-engage our committee members. Luckily, one of my colleagues from the clinic I worked in, the Peds Hemonc clinic I worked in, was a committee member. And she connected me with the 8 original members. 5 of those opted to continue in, and 4 are still on my committee today. And then we needed to engage with the DAISY Foundation. I set up a meeting with my program manager at that time. And then we are very lucky that our Ascension National Nursing team partners with us and helps support our programs. So I engaged with that team to make sure I knew all of the guidance that we needed to follow for that. And then, of course, we wanted to make sure that all of those nurses who were nominated during the time the program was idle were celebrated. So we made the decision to start really big and build momentum. It was a very busy 7 days, but we provided 6 awards in August of 2018 in 7 days. Those honorees were selected from the 100 nominations that were submitted while we were idle. Elizabeth and I selected those, notified the committee, and invited them to all of the presentations. And then building off of that, Elizabeth sent out an email to all of our nurses to announce that we had relaunched our program, celebrate those winners, and kind of tease that there's more to come very, very soon. Next thing we focused on was our nomination forms. So our committee shared that they felt that we had an opportunity to simplify things. So we worked to decrease the reading level on our nomination form, as well as simplify the language to say thank you instead of nominate. We also removed a colored background that was on our nomination forms. Inevitably, in a paper form, it gets copied, and with each copy, that background, it makes it more and more difficult to read. It also made it difficult for our committee to review nominations, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. We translated that simplified form into Spanish, and then we also created electronic nomination forms, the first of which was our DAISY Award for Extraordinary Nurses, and that was ready by November of 2018. We created QR codes, put up flyers. We even created a tabletop tent for our cafeteria and coffee shop. We retired those with the pandemic, and they haven't come back. And we'll see where that goes, but it just had to do with cleaning and ensuring that it was clean for the next patient who sat at that table. This is just a quick visual of the different items that we have available. To the left is one of our flyers. You can see that the table tent And then we have our cafeteria banner that actually celebrates our honorees, but it also has QR codes for our patients and families to stop right then and there and nominate a nurse. On the far right-hand side, we have one of our newsletters that goes out related to patient and associate experience from Elizabeth, our CNO. And on the last page of that, we have all of the different ways that our associates can nominate others for recognition. And Daisy is front and center right up at the top. And that nomination form, it goes to all of our nomination forms. I'll talk about that in just a moment. The other thing that newsletter does is it celebrates our honorees within it. We needed to engage and empower our committee in order to sustain a program that we could grow. So we had our first committee meeting in September of 2018 after I took over as the coordinator. Within that meeting, I learned a lot from them. They shared a lot of what they had been doing and what they hoped to do in the future. We created a charter to kind of outline what our committee responsibilities were, what their participation requirements were. They can use this as an activity for their career portfolio. And so it was important for us to outline what their requirements were. Our committee meets quarterly. And it votes at least once a month, often more than that because of the different programs we're awarding at that time. We had two guiding principles for our committee when we relaunched. The first was to make sure that our committee reflected the diversity of our workforce. So we have, different positions represented, different care settings. And we wanted to make sure we heard the voice of all of our nurses from all over our hospital. So in the beginning, we had 5 members, and you can see them listed there. They were all from different areas. And then we committed to continually reevaluating and growing our committee as we grew as an organization. The second thing was that we wanted to make sure that our committee members would steer the strategic direction of our program. Examples of this are that in that first meeting, they made it clear that they wanted every single nurse who was nominated for an award to receive a nominee pin. The second piece is that every award we've added, they voted to add. And we talked about what that looked like, how we would select our honorees, and so on. Jen asked me next to talk about how we manage our nominations. So we do have multiple nomination forms at Dell Children's. We have one that is for our individual and team award. When we added the team award, I added a checkbox to that nomination form so that they could indicate whether it was for one nurse or the team. And then our Daisy Nurse Leader Award, which we added in 2021, it has an electronic nomination form only, and the Daisy Lifetime is also electronic. As we added more and more nomination forms electronic, it became clear that it was getting more difficult to navigate. So I created a website which now houses all of the links to our different forms, and we've updated our different publicity materials to include that one unified QR code so that they can go through and find the English or Spanish version for the award they would like to nominate for. So all of our nominations, both blinded and unblinded, are scanned and saved electronically. Some of that is from lessons learned. When we took over the program, every nomination that had been submitted had been returned to the nominee, which is great. But I had no historical data to know what our baseline was or how we were improving. It also has helped us to be able to help nurses who may be told that they were nominated by someone for an award, but they haven't received their nomination. And sometimes that happens. They get switched up between the managers, and we're able to get that to the nurse to ensure they get their recognition. We do partner with volunteer services at our hospital. They help us to complete rounds on the nomination boxes, and they collect and restock. And then they also help us with the blinding and scanning process. It does require orientation for them and some oversight, We have learned the hard way that some people catch on more quickly than others. And then, as I shared earlier, all of our original nominations are given back to the nominee with a pin, and that's done by our managers after the committee closes out their voting. So how do we select our honorees? So we've always done an all electronic process, but when Ascension transitioned to the Google platform in January 2020, we optimized our process to streamline it and make it more efficient. So I email our committee a call to action for every award. It's at least once a month. Each email contains who our most recent winner was with the nomination number and the photo of that winner. It also includes a link to the Google file, which holds all of the numbered and blinded nominations. And then it includes a rubric, which we build in a Google form. And the members use that rubric to select and rank their top 3 choices. And they use a set criteria that we have established as a committee to rank those nominations. So this is an example of what that call to action email looks like. On the left is the email. You can see the photo, and then we have the different items that are listed below in the blue hyperlinks. Another thing that I've done to ensure that our committee knows that they're getting an email from me about Daisy, and even to our leaders, is every subject line that has to do with Daisy in the Daisy committee has a Daisy in the subject line. To the right, you'll see the Google Drive. That's just what it looks like when they open it. And then once they open one, they can just hit the arrow to jump to the next one, and they don't have to open each individual document. This is some examples of our different rubrics. We have a different rubric for each award. They use a Likert scale, and then it gives a point value to the different nominations they're ranking. So after our window closes, I take all of the votes from our members and we tally them. In addition to the points they add with the rubric, we add points based on their preferences. So that's to ensure that their diverse backgrounds are reflected in their honoree selection. So for example, if my nurse from the ED ranks a nurse as their top, a nomination as their top, that nomination will get an additional 3 points from that member, and so on with every different nomination. After we get the highest point value, our leaders then complete a Google form. They give me all the details. Are they eligible? What's their name and credentials for the certificate? And then they provide the schedule so we can get everything scheduled according to that honoree's work schedule. Quick update on our goal progression. So since 2018, we have had over 2,500 nominations submitted. We've registered 160 Daisy honorees since 2010, and 100 of those have been since 2018. That includes the individual members of our team as well. And you can see here where you see we added the different awards as we went. And then just going back to what we said about growing our committee with Dell Children's. So as we have grown, Dell Children's nursing workforce has grown more than 500 nurses since 2018. We opened our second campus in 2023, April of 2023, and we've grown from 5 members to 16 members to stay true to that commitment to represent our workforce. We do have one unified Daisy committee for both campuses. So 4 of our 16 members are from our North campus, and we're still recruiting members for that campus. And then the different campuses vote for their individual and team awards to make sure that their voice is heard and who's being recognized from their colleagues. But they will vote together for our quarterly nurse leader honorees, and they vote together for our annual Daisy Lifetime Achievement Award. So those are kind of my highlights of what Jen asked me to share today. I'd like to kind of pause here and just say thank you to my committee because none of this would be possible without them. I'd also like to thank Elizabeth Frieda Bowling, our Chief Nursing Officer, for her dedication and support to making sure this program is successful. And then I would be remiss if I didn't thank my two co-coordinators who I think are on today, Amy Dominguez and Jerry Kelly. I couldn't do this without you, so thank you. If anyone has any questions, you can either raise your hand or place them in the chat. And again, thanks for the opportunity to share today.
Thank you so much, Tara. That was amazing. I love all of your ideas. You never cease to amaze me on all the hard work that you put in. You work those facilities and just run everything so gracefully. So thank you again for taking the time to create the presentation as well as sharing with everybody. Got a lot of really good feedback in our chat. I was noticing throughout your presentation. So
thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Well, the next DAISY coordinators that we have up are going to be, let me share my screen here. There we go.
Apologies. Yvette, can you please turn your camera on? Thank you.
Is going to be Yvette and Isabel. They are from Texas Children's Hospital. They are both the DAISY coordinators there and have some amazing ideas and best practices to share with you as well. Give them just a minute to get on.
Can you see can you see us? Can you see us? Okay. Hi there, give us a minute. We will share our screen.
Mel, are you able to find them?
I cannot find them.
I'm gonna hit your screen here. No, you can't see our video. Can you see us now? Oh, there we go.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I will go ahead and pass it over to both of you. Thank you again so much for being here and sharing with us today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for the invite and the opportunity. I am going to share our screen and we will begin. All right, so we are, I am Isabel Delatorre. I am a senior administrative assistant in our nursing operations department. And this is my, my co-lead Yvette Ochoa, who is our nursing administrative specialist. So we'll just kind of give you an overview of how our program is run and how we sustain our DAISY program here within the organization. So we are located here in the greater Houston area. Our campuses comprise of our main campus, our Katy West Houston campus, and our Woodlands campus. And it's about average about 1,300 nurses across our system. Our DAISY program began in March of 2013. And then most recently in 2021, we did launch our DAISY Leader Program Award. On average, we typically receive about 80 to 100 nominations per month, give or take. So that's roughly about 1,500 nominations per year. Out of those nominations, 90% of those are nominated by our patients and our families. We do have a small percentage which are nominated by our staff or visitors. Because we are a teaching facility, we do have a lot of medical students, nursing students, and we do get a small portion from that group as well. So average, we typically celebrate about 36 DAISY honorees per year, and also 4 leader honorees that are celebrated per year. Here's an example of our one of our Daisy statues that was graciously donated by the Get Well Network in 2017. As mentioned before, we do have a paper form that is that patients and families are able to nominate our amazing nurses, but we also do have an electronic version as well. So with our statue, we felt that it was lacking something and wanted to give families an opportunity to make their nominations as a step away to take a break from the hospital room. And so we actually installed a frame, which includes our QR code here next on the side of our healing statue. So this is just a nice representation of the Daisy Award and the sculpture that our amazing nurses have the opportunity to receive. And also just a nice representation of the Daisy Foundation within our organization.
And just to add, this statue is located on one of our bridges, so it's a high traffic area that patients, families, and visitors, it's a reminder that this is another way that they can honor their nurses in case they don't always get, out and about or find the code or form on the floor. They always go to lunch or to get food, so this statue is a reminder.
So we're going to talk a little bit about our winner selection process. As mentioned, we do have 3 Daisy Award recipients that are selected each month. They are brought to our Daisy committee, which they are reviewed, their blind nominations. And with our Daisy committee, they vote on their top 3 choices. Once this is completed, our committee coordinators tally up these votes and they select the top 3 winners. After this process, we do have our Daisy coordinators reach out to the leaders just for a leader approval, just to make sure our recipient is within good standing, just to make sure that they're able to receive this award. So how do we present and continually celebrate our honorees? So our celebration process includes the recipient being honored at on a unit staff level, and this is done by their nursing leader and also their the nursing staff as well. We do also invite our CNO, Jackie Ward, and other vice presidents of nursing to be a part of this this celebration. Winners also do get celebrated at the end of the year during the employee celebrations. So there's a second opportunity for them to get recognized if someone wasn't able to attend the unit staff celebration. After this is done, leaders do send a picture, they'll email a picture to the unit staff of the recipient with the award and certificate, just as another way of celebrating our recipients. And then our CNO or our vice presidents do also have a Daisy announcement monthly during our nursing updates. So these updates are done on our shared council day, and they provide another opportunity for a celebration announcement. So that way, again, if anyone missed the opportunity of seeing the celebration, they are also still acknowledged. And then the last thing that we do is we do also post our recipients on our hospital intranet page and all of our social media platforms. So that way our outside patients and visitors can also see those recognitions as well. And here we have an example of our intranet, our employee intranet page, and then also our social media. You'll see here we do have different people from different campuses. We have our West Campus celebrated here. We have our Legacy Tower, and then we also have our pavilion. So our Daisy program is very, very wide across our system, and our nurses really acknowledge and appreciate the opportunity to be celebrated. So this is Daisy is a very big here at our organization. And you'll notice here at the Daisy Foundation, we know that our Daisy Foundation partners are also looking at our social media sites. So we really do appreciate that. And then we also do have our Daisy Nurse Leader selection process. It's a little similar to the Daisy selection process. So we do have one recipient that is selected quarterly by our Daisy Award Committee. Again, those nominations are blinded and they're voted for the top choice. We do have one winner quarterly. These celebrations they do have a unit celebration with the nursing staff and the nursing leaders. Again, our CNO, Jackie Ward, and our nursing vice presidents are also included in the celebration. And then they also do have a year-end employee celebration. And what's a little different here is we have a nursing congress, similar to like a nursing town hall, that is presented by our CNO. And she also does another recognition for our nurse award leader. And then we also do post this on our hospital intranet page and social media platforms as well. And here is an example of one of our fabulous nurse leader recipient and our CNO, Jackie Ward, and her team. So again, our Daisy partnership is very strong here within our organization. All right, so that's the end of our presentation. We're open to any questions that anyone may have.
Hey, you have a question?
I do actually. First of all, thank you so much. There was so much wonderful information on that, some great examples. I have been part of Daisy for years, and I saw some fantastic new ideas I'm excited to share. My question for you all is, it's very clear that you work closely with marketing to get all of these celebratory posts sent out to social media. It's wonderful to see. Do you have someone from marketing sitting in on your Daisy committee, or do you just work closely with them? What does that partnership look like? Because I know that's a missing piece for a lot of our Daisy committees.
We just work closely with marketing for the Daisy Award, but actually marketing really works closely with nursing for all celebrations across the hospital. So like during Nurses Week, PCA Week, any event that's going on, they are usually the first to get in contact with us to say, hey, we know this is going on. Let us know what pictures you have, send them on. And they're a big fan of Daisy, and they're always reminding us, hey, don't forget to send us the pictures from this past month's celebration. So they really partner with nursing with us.
And on top of that, they if they don't hear from us, like probably like a few days have gone by and they haven't heard from us, they're reaching out to us already. Like we on a monthly basis, we'll send them this information, but if we're slow to kind of get things to them, they're on top of it. They're quickly, like they must have some sort of reminder that says, okay, we need to get these out. Send me your Daisy recipients, because we're ready to get these sent out.
Thank you. Love that. Having that recognition embedded at the base level of your facility is wonderful. We do have one question from the chat. Claudia was asking, how do you tally your Daisy Award stories? Essentially, how do you collate and track those?
Sure. So the committee, which we have about 15, I think, members. And so we'll send out the blinded, a document with the blinded nominees, numbered from 1 to however many we have. We usually have either 10 to 12 that are going to the selection process. And they will submit their first, second, and third choice. And so then when those come through to the Daisy coordinators, they then tally, how many got, the top number 1, top 2, and top 3. And then we usually do have we choose an alternate just in case one of the winners is either no longer here or may not be eligible to receive the award.
You can also use track those nominees before sending them. You can track them on an Excel spreadsheet. Some use Google. Do you use Google or Excel to keep all of your nominations
We
in?
mostly use Excel,
Excel.
yes. And we have shared drives that our coordinators are able to also look at, and they usually shuffle through our nominations, which sometimes we can get up to 100 a month. So both of our coordinators are able to shuffle through those and then kind of select our kind of set the top 10 to 12. Like we like to say, like bring to the table to bring to our committee members. And so with those, we do they'll select those from there and then bring the top 10 to 12. But there is a very vigorous system, very precise. So there's someone who, you know, right now we're in the season of evaluations, performance evaluations. So we do have some nomination or some nominees who were nominated but lost their nomination. So we're able to shuffle through that. We have our system's very precise where we're able to shuffle through that, and we can easily find that nomination if they wanted to use that on the performance evaluation as an example.
And all nominees do get a card that's signed by the VP of Retention Council, who kind of oversees this committee, and receives a card letting them know that they were nominated and how great that was, and they receive a pen as well. So everyone does receive something if you're not selected as a winner.
Awesome. And Elizabeth, did you have a question for us?
Oh, yes. I keep forgetting that says Elizabeth. It reminds me of my mom when she was mad. So bad. Thank you. So I actually have two questions. Do you all or anyone have experience with letting shared governance be the voters? That would be my first question. And then my second question would be, are the presenters today available, contact available for consultative help?
Sure. So Retention Council is part of our shared governance, and the members of the DAISY committee come from the Retention Council, and they serve on a 2-year commitment, because if they're part of retention, they're on that council for 2 years. So they'll be on the committee for 2 years. So shared governance is a part of the selection process. And then, yes, we would be available to consultate.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Yvette. And Isabel, thank you so much for sharing and being here today. And again, taking that time to create your presentations and rehearsal yesterday. So you guys are amazing. I appreciate all that you do for Daisy, for your nurses. Like Tina said, we really couldn't do this without you guys. So I appreciate all of your hard work and dedication into this program.
Thank you.
Thank
You're very welcome.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Next, I will go ahead and introduce our next co-host here. Let me share. We have got Tracy Adami here. She is with Dallas Medical City Children's Hospital. She is going to share some of her best practices. Thank you again so much, Tracy, for being here today and taking the time out of, I know, your busy days to be here.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I am trying to share, and maybe it'll let me share now. For some reason, it's hiding PowerPoint from me. Here we go. Okay. Is everyone able to see the presentation?
Do your display settings. Yep. And swap.
All right.
There we go. Perfect.
Perfect. So I am Tracy Adami. I am the DAISY coordinator for Medical City Dallas, Medical City Children's Hospital, and Medical City Heart and Spine Hospitals. And we are a very proud 5-time magnet designated organization as well. We do have 986 cumulative licensed beds across those campuses, and we do provide comprehensive care across the spectrum. We started our program in September of 2018 with an initial team award that encompassed multiple specialties across our organization, and we were extremely honored to have Bonnie and Mark Barnes actually come present our first award. And it really allowed us to ensure we kicked it off with a bang. We had many people that attended from throughout our organization and really got us off to a great start. So we remain grateful for that. I was asked to talk a little bit about how we recognize our winners. And so I have just a little bit about the overview because it really does start with the determination of the committee. This committee is by nomination only, and individuals cannot actually ask to join. They have to be nominated and reviewed by the current committee. The initial committee was developed by the leaders across the organization, but it is now 100% approved. Any changes are made by the committee itself. They do receive a personalized email from me, and this is an example, that lets them know why they were selected and that it is meant to be an honor for them and what membership would entail. I have never had anyone decline participation on this committee, and many of our original members from 2018 are still on the committee. They are selected as ambassadors of our mission, vision, and values, and all of them are selected knowing that they are excellent ambassadors of compassionate care that Daisy represents. And so several of our committee members have actually won over the years, which is great to recognize them as well. I do blind all of the nominations myself. They are sent out electronically on a monthly basis. They receive them a week in advance of our committee meeting so that they are able to score them independently, and they send them back to me. There are 5 criterion that were developed by the committee members, and they score each of the criterion from 0 to 3, and then we tally a mean score for every nomination. And it's sometimes very, very enlightening how tight the scoring is. It's not uncommon that we have the differential being a 1/10 of a point as to who is selected and who is not. We did start the process with the paper trifold forms, but we have since now moved to 100% electronic submission of the nominations. And we do have it on our external website for patients and families, but we also have it on our internal SharePoint for the staff. It is easier for them to get to that, and it's right there on their screen every time they go to their computer. We do utilize the Daisy business cards. Our business cards are double-sided. On one side is the Daisy Award with the QR code. On the other side is the B Award, so that when it is presented to patients and families, they can nominate any team member at any time. I blind the nominations for the B committee as well. So if they happen to select their own QR code and go somewhere, I can easily just move it to the correct recognition. And our nurse leaders carry these around in their pockets. And so when they're doing nurse leader rounding, it's not uncommon that they hand them out. They also place them in the admission and discharge packets for all of our patients and families. Our organization is a little unique in that we do not own our physical building. So for that reason, I am not able to place anything on the walls or to have anything permanently up and able to provide marketing and those types of things. It really is based on word of mouth of individuals who have participated in the process and in having personal communications with patients and families and having that meaningful recognition. So we have had over 1,000 nominations in the time that we have been there. Like the other organizations, we do provide nominations back to each and every one of our nurses. I do have a card that I had made that's on the right-hand side. There's a picture there of the external card and then internally what it is stating. I do also utilize the templates that were provided by the Daisy Foundation to be able to provide a signature from our chief nurse executive, and she does hand sign every single one of them. And I type in the nomination so that they're able to receive that nomination. In some cases, that's one card. In some cases, it's more than that. Our nurse executive team signs each and every one of the cards. So this will go to our CNO of the Children's and women's hospitals, it will go to our ACNO that's over heart and spine, and will also go to our ACNO and VP of adult health services. So all of those signatures will have occurred, and then it goes to all of the leadership for that individual nurse. So depending on where they are on our ladder, there's a different number of people who may have signed it. But for every single nurse, each person in their chain of command, all the way up to our chief nurse executive, has signed a personal note to them before they are given out. We do provide the pins, and we do also provide multiple nominee pins, and we have found them to be the nurses to be very proud of the pins. And it's exciting for me when I round and I go out in the units. It's not uncommon that they stop me and show me their pins, which we just love to have that part of our culture and to have the nurses proud of being recognized for having compassionate care. They also have unit-based nursing performance scorecards, and recognition is very important for us. So I do provide to them on their scorecards how many nominations and how many winners they have had from their units. We have had to date 85 individual award winners across 38 different care areas. It is very important to us that we do recognize each and every care area and make sure that they are recognized and that the unique care that they provide is called out. We do provide the recognition ceremonies on the units. We do have pictures that are taken at that time, and we are part of HCA, and I personally write a note with the picture and put it on our HCA nurses Facebook page the day of each presentation. That goes to every nurse in our company, and the chief nurse executive for all of HCA responds to all of the DAISY posts. So they're able to see that and have that be out there. In addition to that, the pictures are provided to the unit leadership to be in the weekly unit newsletters and emails. We do also have hospital forums every quarter that go on for a week at a time. That is our entire senior leadership team. Each of the photos and the recognitions from the DAISY Awards are presented in forums. We also utilize that in our nursing annual report. And when we are writing regional recognitions for our nurses, such as Dallas-Fort Worth Great 100 Nurses or D Magazine, Excellence in Professional Nursing or AONL or any of those things, I do provide the actual nominations to the leaders during that process so that they're able to incorporate those in the regional recognitions as well in their nominations. For us, it is very important that we include the nominees as much as possible in the ceremony. I think that for us, that's been one of the most meaningful things to the actual nurses that are recognized, is hearing directly from the patients that they care that they impacted. And so we try very hard to include them. In some cases, they physically can't be there because they have come from somewhere else in the country, so they physically can't be there. And we do provide electronic means for them to be able to participate in the ceremonies if needed. We do also present the team award, and we have found that this is something that really the units get really excited about. Our first team award involved one of our own patients, or one of our own nurses that came very close to losing her life. And she was cared for in mother, baby, labor and delivery, the medical intensive care unit, and nursing administration. And when we kicked off our DAISY process for our hospital, that was the initial award that was given, and the nurse was able to come there and be part of that and recognize her team. So that was our first one. Our second one was in medical oncology. Our third was 7 South COVID Med Surge. That is a unique situation because typically when we have a submission for a team award, they're nominating the team or they're nominating a group of nurses. That was not the case for 7 South. What we had was during COVID, when the patients were not allowed to have visitors and the units were still on lockdown, we continued to get individual nominations for almost every nurse that worked in that unit. And they were very meaningful personal ways that the nurses were providing essentially the family for patients who were not able to have anyone there. And so when I saw that we continued to have them, they were sent and scored individually, just like any other nomination, but I did let the committee know all of the ones that had come from that unit to say, these are all coming from this unit. Do you want to recognize the nurses individually, or would you like me to pursue this as a team award and we can recognize the team? And they 100% wanted to do the team and the culture of that unit. So we had a professional book made, and this is the front cover of it. There was notations from every member of leadership, and there was a paragraph written with a picture to give individual recognition to each and every nurse who worked on that unit. It was a surprise when we went there, and the nurses did not know it was coming. But we did have our chief nurse executive read out the individual nominations for each and every one of those nurses, and we're part of it. That went over extremely well, and it's not uncommon that I'll hear from a unit that for whatever reason is having a particular challenge, and they'll say, can you do one of those team awards like you did for 7th South? Because it really helped that team and they were solidified. And so that's the post that we have there of that picture. And recently we gave our 4th team award to our accretive program and a Partum unit, and we did have the family come and actually present that award. We also participate in the Leader Award. It is important to us that nurses in leadership roles across the spectrum are recognized. And today we have recognized a manager, a director, our chief nurse executive, and 2 clinical nurse coordinators, which serve kind of like a supervisor or charge nurse for the unit. But in this particular case, they were nominated by a nurse on their unit for exemplary leadership and how they were able to work with her on a unique situation. And so when we recognize the leaders, we do 2 recognitions. Depending on their level of leadership, we choose the most appropriate leadership venue, and we do a recognition at the leadership venue to recognize them as leaders. We then walk as a team and go up to their units and do a secondary recognition on their units so that all of the nurses can participate and be part of it. And that is what I have for today. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Does anybody have any questions? I'll give you just a minute. If you have any questions, raise your hand, put it in the chat. Kate? Yes.
Hi, I just have a really quick one, so I know we're tight on time. But I did want to ask, Tracy, you have such a great system in place, and you're clearly touching on so many different aspects of the DAISY program. How much time do you dedicate, say, per week into your DAISY coordinator role? Just a rough ballpark estimate to give us an idea.
I would say that it does vary depending on the number of nominations for that particular month and the number of awards that we're doing. So we do typically do 2 individual awards. There are situations where we might make an exception. If we had, a 3rd nurse that was exceptional, we have on occasion made it, had that happen. And recently I gave 2 leader awards, a team award, and individual awards across the campuses. And so that took a little bit more because we gave them all at once. But I would say that I spend monthly in the de-identifying of the nominations and sending those out in the scoring. I probably spend 4 hours a month on that. And then depending on how difficult it is for the scheduling, I usually spend a couple hours making sure that they're all scheduled and that I have the leadership there and all of those types of things. It depends on the individual nurse because sometimes when they're nominated, they're a full-time employee that works Monday through Friday. Those are easy to schedule. Everyone's there. When I have a PRN nurse that only works once every 3 weeks, then sometimes it's a little bit more challenging to schedule. But on average, I would say that total it's less than 8 hours a month.
We can't hear you for some reason.
Sorry about that. To answer the question in the chat, we will also be sending the slides along after our roundtable today. But that is all the questions that I saw from the chat. And thank you, Tracy, for answering that question on time. I was really curious about that. And it's clear that you obviously put a lot of effort towards making this successful. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much to every single one of you. Tara, Tracy, Isabel, and Yvette, for your time and dedication into preparing for this meeting. We appreciate you so, so much. Right now, we are going to go ahead and move over into our breakout rooms. There will be 4 different rooms that you can choose from. We have a large facility, a small facility, an ambulatory or specialty room, and then new programs. So we'll be in there for about 45 minutes. That's where you can discuss, ask questions, talk away, get all the best practices you need right there from DAISY coordinator to DAISY coordinator. There will also be a member of the DAISY team in the meeting as well to answer any questions that you might have. When you are going to leave, make sure that you have hit the leave breakout room button and not the leave meeting button. Either way, if you do accidentally hit the leave meeting, you can just use the same Zoom link to get back in, and we'll get you back in here. But we will go ahead and get that started for you now. And we will see you here in the next 45 minutes.
And just to reiterate, if you scroll down to the bottom, if you click on breakout room and scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see your choices. You can join by just clicking on the blue join button, large facility, small facility, ambulatory specialty, or if you are new or your first year of DAISY. Alex, you able to get in your room? Rebecca, will you please stay on in this room?
Happy to.
All right, folks, if anybody has any difficulty joining large facility, small facility, ambulatory specialty, specialty could be behavioral health, it could be psych or senior living, lots of different categories. If you're not a traditional inpatient medical center or hospital, then you probably should go into the ambulatory specialty and find your like neighbors. New first year, if you've just joined DAISY or it's your first year of DAISY, I would consider 60 beds small. I think that that's fine. Basically, small is less than 250, 300 nurses, but it can certainly be either. I think you'll still learn something in either room.
I think Hannah found her breakout rooms.
All right, Kathy, are you able to get into a breakout room? You can unmute yourself if you want to talk. Lisa, Manuel.
Vanessa.
Hi there, this is Kathy. I'm not sure how to get into the breakout session. So
Nope.
I'm
So-
new, so I would probably choose the new first year in the program.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you wave your mouse around, the bottom toolbar will pop open for you. And when that bottom toolbar pops open for you, you'll see something called breakout room. It should be right next to, I'm gonna stop recording this.